Today, I want to tell you a story about two friends. Let's call them D and G. They grew up in a small town in Bihar, in the same neighborhood, attended the same schools, and even shared the same dreams. In fact, their grades were almost same. D would stand second and G would place third. But their home environments, they were worlds apart. D's home was a heaven of inspiration and discipline. His father was very strict and particular about everything. The house had books lined up at the shelves. And D had a well structured routine for study and play. Curiosity and creativity were encouraged, but only within a framework of discipline. G's home, on the other hand, was chaotic. The television was on from the morning until night, mornings were rushed, and breakfasts were often skipped. And there was little to no structure in his day. One particular event that stand out, shaping the trajectory of their life in a very different ways. One afternoon during their teenage years, both D and G, feeling mischievous, tried pan masala for the first time. They thought it was harmless fun, but little did they know that the school's peon saw them. The next day, peon reported the incident to both their parents. D's and G's father's reaction could not have been more different. D's father was furious, disappointed and enraged. He beat D black and blue. And after his anger subsided, he sat D down and explained the consequences of the seemingly small actions. The way they could spiral into much bigger problems. This lesson, though harsh, stayed with D. G's father, however, took a very different approach. Instead of addressing the issue, he lashed out at the peon, telling him to mind his own business. See, he is my son, you don't need to worry about him, G's father snapped. Rather than teaching G a valuable lesson, his father's actions sent a clear message that G could escape accountability for his actions. Years went by, and these small differences in how their environments handled discipline shaped their futures. D went on to build a life of structure, discipline and purpose. He is now a well-to-do businessman with a happy family, living a life of fulfillment. The lessons he learned from his father, tough but loving, guided him through challenges, helping him stay focused and responsible. But G's path took a darker turn. What started with pan masala gradually spiraled into more dangerous habits, from chewing tobacco to experimenting with drugs. G's addictions grew unchecked by the kind of guidance G has received. It was not that G lacked ambition or intelligence or willpower. He lacked an environment to nurture his potential. His environment did not offer correction, and without the guardrails of discipline, G's life quickly spun out of the control. The last I heard him, G was in a rehabilitation center for the third time. His marriage had fallen apart, and the life he once had, full of potential, crumbled under the weight of addiction. This story illustrates a crucial point. It's not just willpower or intelligence that determines who we become, but the environments we are shaped by. In D's case, his father's discipline created an environment where mistakes led to learning. And G, on the other hand, was in an environment where consequences did not exist. As a result, G's life was dictated by his unchecked impulses, while D's life was guided by structure and responsibility. Your environment, whether at home, at work, or in your community, has a profound effect on your ability to succeed. It's not about having superhuman willpower. It's about creating an environment that helps you make better choices effortlessly. While contrary to this fact, we often glorify willpower as the secret sauce to success. We are told that if we just muster enough determination, we can overcome any obstacle. And this myth is deeply rooted in our society and reinforced by the stories we tell and movies we watch. Think about it. How many times have you seen a hero, against all odds, rise up and defeat the villain, seemingly powered by nothing but pure grit? We love these underdog stories because they inspire us to believe that sheer willpower can make anything possible. These stories, though, make for good cinema, but in reality, success is not just about endless determination. It's about structuring your environment in a way that supports your goal, making success not only possible but sustainable. As explained in my last video, willpower is a limited resource and relying on it often sets you up for failure. Think of it like a battery that drains with every decision you make, from choosing what to wear to resisting that tempting snack. And by the time we get to the important tasks that truly require our focus, our willpower reserves are depleted. So instead of constantly battling for motivation, the key is designing the right environment to channel our limited willpower effectively. For example, take someone trying to eat healthier. If their kitchen is full of junk food, it does not matter how strong their willpower is, they are going to struggle. But if they change the environment by stocking up fruits and healthy snacks, they will find it much easier to stick to their goals. Think and comment what would happen if you made similar changes in your own environment. What can you achieve that is not possible now? And consider this, the people who look superhuman with the best self-control are the typical ones who need to use it the least. Disciplined people are not those who are waging epic battles against temptation every day. Instead, they have structured their lives to minimize the need of willpower. They have designed environments that make good habits automatic and bad habits inconvenient. Let me show you a practical step-by-step environment design exercise as in how to achieve this. Start by identifying what you will need to do to create an environment where you will be able to do your habit successfully. What you will need to add, what you will need to remove. Next, write down the steps of the habit that you will be practicing, and finally identify the step you will need to take to make sure you actually do your habit every day. It might be adding accountability or making a public commitment, but make sure you complete this step. Like if you want to drink more water, fill up few water bottles each morning and place them in common locations at your home and see the difference. By the way, link of this exercise is in the description just in case if you want to download it. Also, your social environment matters too. Remember the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Surrounding yourself with motivated, positive individuals can elevate your drive. In India, many aspiring entrepreneurs move to startup hubs like Bangalore or Mumbai, seeking the energy and innovation these places offer. I was once skeptical of this, but after spending years without making significant progress in Kolkata, I finally moved to Bangalore, and that's when I truly understood the power of environment. The vibrant communities there provide not just resources, but also an atmosphere buzzing with ambition and creativity. And this collective energy propels them forward. Now let us get into the end game of adjusting your existing environment to get where you want to be. The way to design your environment for success is by reducing friction for positive habits and increasing it for negative ones. Friction refers to anything that makes a task harder, even by a little bit. See, decision making by its nature creates friction and drains mental energy. The more choices you have to make, the more friction you experience. Let me give you a practical example. When you wake up in the morning, if your bed is messy, you are more likely to get into it. But if you make your bed immediately, you reduce the friction for the next use and increase the friction for staying in the bed and being lethargic all day. Seems very simple, no? Apply it and see results by yourself. Author Richard Shorten discusses this in his book, The Illusion of Choice. He explains that the people often focus on the forces that push them forward, like willpower, when they should be focusing on what holds them back. Think of it like driving a car. Releasing the handbrake is far more effective than pushing harder on the accelerator. In 2017, psychologist Peter Bergman from Columbia University and Todd Rogers from Harvard University conducted an experiment to test the impact of friction on behavior. They offered parents an educational service providing study tips for their children, and parents were randomly assigned to one of 3 groups, each with a different sign-up process. First was the standard group, where parents could enroll by visiting a website and filling out a short form. Then was simplified group, where parents could sign up by simply replying start. And third was automatically enrolled group, where parents were told that they were already enrolled, but they could opt out by replying stop. And the results were staggering. Only 1% of parents in the standard group signed up. The simplified group saw an increase to 8%, But in automatically enrolled group, a whopping 97% of parents stayed enrolled. The study shows how even small bits of friction like visiting a website or filling out a form can drastically reduce participation, even in something as important as their children's education. So how can you apply this idea in your life? By eliminating unnecessary friction in your environment, you can make it easier to take action and follow through on your goals. And on the flip side, if you want to reduce a negative behavior, you can add friction. Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit daily to reduce decision fatigue, conserving his mental energy for more critical tasks. Closer to home, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam led a minimalist lifestyle, freeing himself up from distractions to focus on his contributions to India's space and defense programs. Most people live in a world others have created for them, but you can alter the spaces where you live and work to increase your exposure to positive cues and reduce your exposure to negative cues. Environment design allows you to take back control and become the architect of your life. Be the designer of your world and not merely the consumer of it. Remember, willpower might light the initial spark, but it's your environment that keeps the flame burning. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and tune in for next updates.